What is going on, everybody? Today we are back, and today it is time for week number 12, which is 12 in Spanish. Week 12 NFL predictions. You already know I didn't make a video last week, so this one's just going to be extra special. We will have a special guest on today's show. Thanksgiving did not go well for me. I went 1 for 3 in picking games. Picked the Lions to win. Oof. Picked the Cowboys to win. It was a good game, at least. Picked the Saints to win. No, I did not. I picked the Bills to win, and luckily they did win. That was a good game. So here we are back for week number 12 of the NFL season. I don't know if there's anything else special I have to say. So, yeah, here we are, back with another video. So, when are you coming in?
I guess you could announce it or
Alright, I'll just do it right now. Alright, we have a special guest on today's show. The one, the only guest star. It is Matt. This isn't his first video. If you watch some of the Peters Pines vlogs, other videos, he's been in this before.
Hi, Mom.
Well, I mean he's been in videos, but not one of these. I've never had a guest on this. Anything special to say?
Let's get to it. Just gotta be better than you.
I don't know if it's a competition, but okay. Kicking it off, everybody, we are going to begin with our first game, starting with the noon games on CBS. We have the New York Jets taking on the Houston Texans. The New York Jets are currently, let's get down there, they are 16th last in the AFC with a record of 2-8. They can kiss the playoffs goodbye. The Houston Texans are sitting at 14th in the AFC with a record of 2-8. They can also kiss the playoffs goodbye. The Jets are coming off of a loss to the Dolphins, and the Texans are coming off of a win over the Titans. That was a good game. I was surprised that the Texans won that game. But, yes, let's go to the injury report, see if there's anything before we get into this game. The Jets waived running back Philip Lindsay. He was taken by the Dolphins off of waivers. Zach Wilson is the starter for the Jets in this game. Mike White and Joe Flacco were on the COVID list. One of them tested positive, and one of them is just a close contact. I do not remember which is which. Corey Davis is expected to play. He's listed as questionable going into this game. He has dealt with injuries really the whole season. Questionable, we have Shaq Lawson, John Franklin Myers, and CJ Mosley. As for the Texans, I think I wrote this injury report wrong. They're supposed to probably be listed as questionable, but whatever. Nico Collins, wide receiver, and Jonathan Greenard are, I'm assuming, listed as questionable, but I made this wrong. Laramie Tunsil is set to return from surgery soon. Their star left tackle. He, at the beginning of October, I believe, he had thumb surgery, and he was expected to be back within about a month, and it's been over a month, so he should be back anytime. Oof, both these teams are not that good.
It is not a good game. As fellow YouTuber Urinating Tree would say, this is by far a tank bowl, to say the least. I feel bad for anyone that lives in Houston or New York that has to watch this game. Unfortunately, we do have to pick a winner. I guess I'd like to see the Jets win. Obviously, Zach Wilson coming back. Cool to see if he can pick up where Mike White left off. I guess even with the injuries to Michael Carter, I guess I'll go Jets here.
I believe Michael Carter's out for this game.
Yeah, he's out.
But I don't have it. I didn't have it listed, but yeah,
2 to 3 weeks. Fantasy team.
It's funny that Jets fan. Well, it's just funny because the Jets aren't even in New York, so it just makes this even funnier. But both teams are really awful in this game. This is kind of a toss-up game. I'm gonna go with the Texans. They just came off of a win over the Titans. They're still not good, but the Jets are also not good. Really, neither team is good. This game is a coin flip, but I'm going to go with the Texans. He's going to go with the Jets. We'll just have to see who's right in this one. For this next matchup, everybody, we have the Tennessee Titans taking on the New England Patriots. The Titans are number 1 in the AFC, and the Patriots have been on a roll recently. They've won 4 straight games, I believe. The New England Patriots, everybody, are coming off of a win over the Atlanta Falcons. They won 23-0. In fantasy, I was going up against someone who had the Patriots defense, and they scored 23 points. So that did not end well for me. The Titans are coming off of a loss to the Texans, like I recently mentioned. The Titans are still sitting at first in the AFC. They have a record of 8-3. They are currently a half game ahead over the Ravens. In the divisional race, it is the Colts next, and they are 6-5, so that would mean they are 2 games ahead. The Patriots are 5th in the AFC. They have a record of 7-4. They dropped 2 spots because they were ahead of the Bills, but the Bills won, so now the Bills are back on top. But that will not last if the Patriots win. That was confusing, but I hope you understood that, everybody.
I sure did.
It made sense in my head, but might not have to everyone. We have got the Titans and Patriots. Let's see. The Titans waived running back Adrian Peterson, which is a sad day for all of us Vikings fans. Adrian Peterson, one of the greatest running backs of all time.
Famous child respecter.
So it's sad seeing Adrian Peterson go, but whatever. We still love that man just as much. What a great guy. Well, depends how you define great.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
But that was not an intentional joke, it just happened. Out for this game, the Titans are without Julio Jones. Julio Jones is on the IR, as well as A.J. Brown is also out for this game. So, depleted wide receiver core. Linebacker David Long and linebacker Rashawn Evans, which depletes the linebacker group. Defensive tackle Tier Tart. Might have just butchered his name, but I tried. Oh, no, that's still Titans. Questionable, we have Jeff Swain, the tight end, and hold on. Adeniyi. I hope that was right. He's a linebacker, by the way. And Bud Dupree was placed on the IR this week. He'll be missing 3 games. Patriots, questionable in this game. Their whole running back group, basically. Damian Harris is questionable. Ramondre Stevenson and their whole tight end group, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, questionable. But their entire team has been questionable. No joke, like the past week. They've had the longest list of questionable players out of every team. Or, not week, month. Week 1 makes sense. Trent Brown is also questionable, as are Dante Hightower and Christian Barmore. Titans have been on a roll this year up until last week. They kind of took a face plant, but they're still number 1 in the AFC. Even without Derrick Henry, they have been doing a great job. They've got Adrian Peterson. What other running backs do they have?
They used to have Adrian Peterson.
Well, they used to have Adrian Peterson. Jeremy McNichols. They have another.
They picked up Dante Hillard, I believe, from the Texans practice squad. He's probably going to start for them.
Yeah. Then we've got the Patriots. Patriots they've been good. Bill Belichick, you already know, the greatest coach of all time. He has been doing a great job. This team has been flying high. Mac Jones, offensive rookie of the year, maybe. Personally, I put my pick on
Jamar Chase.
But I like Jamar, but Mac Jones, he's been doing a great job. I won't even lie. What do I have to say else about this game? It's going to be tough for the Titans without A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. Obviously, their top receivers. That is a tough break for them, especially also if Jeff Swain is out for this game. That is really 3 of their top pass-catching players, so who's Ryan Tannehill going to throw it to? I don't know. Maybe they'll have to put Mike Vrabel back out there. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, it's going to be it's an intriguing game, obviously, with a lot of injuries, but the Patriots have been splendid on defense. Mac Jones, when they call upon him, he's making the plays. They're really pounding the ball well with their running backs. I would assume Damian Harris is going to play, hopefully Ramondre Stevenson. But at the end of the day, you got to go with the team that's hot right now. I think the Patriots are going to take this one.
I as well am going to go with the Patriots. Their defense has been outstanding. They had 3 or 4 interceptions off of Matt Ryan. Well, no, not even off Matt Ryan. They put another backup in, and they still got another interception. They had for sure 1 pick 6 in the game. Not a good day for my fantasy team because I was going against the Patriots defense like I mentioned. I do like the Patriots in this game. They have been soaring, and I do not expect any less from them this week, especially going against a very banged-up Titans team. I'm going to go with the Patriots. He's going to go with the Patriots. I think everyone in America is going to go with the Patriots, but you never know. On to the next matchup. Up next, we have an AFC North showdown. It is the Steelers going up against the Bengals this week. The Pittsburgh Steelers are coming off of a loss on Sunday night to the Chargers. High-scoring shootout game, but Big Ben could not pull through last second for the win. Then we've got the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are coming off of unknown. Let me find it.
They beat the Raiders last week.
You're right. It's right there. They beat the Raiders last week. It was kind of a close game at the beginning, and then in the second half, they dominated. For this game, the Steelers will be without tight end Eric Ebron. That is technically their number 2 tight end, but he shares snaps with Pat Freiermuth.
I don't think anyone in Pittsburgh cares that Eric Ebron's out.
Nope, not really. Questionable. We have left guard J.C. Hasenauer, and he's out. I read this wrong. He is out for this game, and questionable is corner Joe Hayden, one of their starting corners. As for the Bengals, I have written on here no major injuries. No major first-string or second-string players were listed, but that also does not include the IR, because I don't really look at the IR. Probably should, but... So only out of players on the active roster, none of them were on their injury report that I can report of. Overall, the Steelers have been a big hit-or-miss team this year. They've had great games, and they've had awful games. The Bengals, on the other hand, have been pretty good for the most part, but they've also had some whiff games. That makes me feel like the Vikings, where the Vikings are a team that can beat the Bucs one week and then lose to the Jaguars the next week, because that's what we do around here.
Classic Minnesota stuff. Obviously a big game, as Joel alluded to, in the NFC North, if you want to read the standings for the viewers.
Just realized I forgot that. So, as for the standings in this game, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 8th in the AFC. They are holding a record of 5-4-1. They tied with the Lions in Week 10, but I didn't make a video last week, so I didn't talk about it. Steelers, you actually tied the Lions. I'm sorry, I gotta laugh at that. It's kind of funny. And then we've got the Bengals. The Bengals are 6th in the AFC, holding a record of 6-4. That means they have a half-game lead over the Steelers. Whichever team wins this game will be put... I should add another website. I should add 538 on here. Look at the playoff
Obviously,
chances
this is
here.
a big game to hold second place in the AFC North and one of the last 3 spots in the playoffs in Week 12.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers are currently sitting with a 21% chance of making the postseason. Not good odds, but a win over the Steelers would bump them up to 36%, approximately. And the Bengals currently, as of right now, have a 60% chance of making the playoffs and a... Oh, hold on. No, they don't. I forgot to click out of it. The Bengals right now have a 47% chance of making the playoffs, and a win over the Steelers would boost them up to 61. So obviously an important game here. For this game, the Bengals did have a good game last week. I do trust the Bengals a lot more than the Steelers. They were in a shootout this week, but overall, consistency is important. Bengals are also not the most consistent team in the NFL, but for this game, I do trust the Bengals more. Steelers are like I talked about earlier, they're just so hit or miss. Hard to judge how they're going to come out and play in this game. So I am going to go with the Bengals on this one.
In these type of games, both offenses, and we're kind of underwhelming at the moment. Obviously, the Bengals have a lot of high power at the receiver position. I think the Steelers' defense is what's going to win them this game with T.J. Watt and all these great players on the defensive side with Mika Fitzpatrick. That's the one unit that's played well every week, and that's going to help Ben Roethlisberger, big women respecter, and is going to help these Steelers win this game and, maybe make a late playoff push, try to take control of the AFC North.
I forgot to even make note of that. Mika Fitzpatrick is back this week. He was out last week and probably not the week before. He was on the COVID list, but he is back for this game. Forgot to even mention that. But there is our picks for this game. Moving on to the next matchup. For this next one, we have the Falcons and Jaguars in an interconference matchup. The Falcons are sitting at 12th in the NFC. They have a record of 4-6. They are not out of playoff contention yet. There's a possibility. Right now, the Falcons, let me find them. The Falcons have a 4% chance of making the playoffs. Oof. But a win would propel them only to 6%.
This is a big game for Atlanta is what we're trying to say.
I did not think about their low playoff opportunities before I spoke that. The Jaguars are sitting at 15th in the AFC. They have a record of 2-8. The Jaguars are coming off of probably a loss, but I will confirm that.
Yes, they did come off of a loss. I don't know who to.
49ers.
49ers, yeah.
Oh yeah, they lost 30 to 3 or 10 or something.
Not pretty.
The Falcons are coming off of... Oh, they're coming off of a loss Thursday night to the Patriots. Patriots destroyed them. Right now, the Jaguars, they're not making the playoffs. They have less than a 0.1% chance. They are not making the playoffs. For this game, the Falcons are going to be without defensive end Jonathan Bullard for this game. I believe he's been out for the past couple weeks, though, so this is not the first time. The Falcons, questionable is former Viking running back Cordarrelle Patterson. He's been pretty good this year. Why couldn't he do that when he was here? But he was a wide receiver when he was here. So.
It's crazy what happens when you use people.
It's crazy seeing Daniel Carlson be good. Yeah.
Could you imagine?
So the story behind that, if you didn't know, which if you don't, shame on you. Daniel Carlson used to be the Vikings kicker. Against the Green Bay Packers, he missed 3 field goals, and then the Vikings proceeded to release him, and look at that man now.
Not to mention, we wasted a draft pick on that. And we gave him 3 games.
What a perfect example of the Vikings kicker curse right there. Except, I don't want to jinx it. I got wood over here, but Greg Joseph has been actually doing decent this year. Oh, I almost had it. Alright, I got it.
See what you did.
Had to knock on the wood, guys. Gotta make sure. Deion Jones is also questionable for the Falcons in this game. Linebacker. Jaguars will be without starting corner Shaquille Griffin. That is the only injury I have to report. Since the last video, James Robinson has returned. He returned last week, or he returned a couple weeks ago, but I don't know if I've made a video since he did. Both teams not that good. Falcons got blown out. Jaguars are just as bad. I'm going to go Falcons for no reason.
I'm going to go Atlanta. I'm not going to even analyze this one. It's not even worth it.
Honestly, there's no reason. I'm just going to pick the Falcons just cause. I just feel like the Falcons are going to win. So, yeah, kind of a sad matchup, but moving on to our next game. It is an NFC East battle coming up next. Moving on to the early set of games. These are the 12 p.m. Central, the superior time zone, 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. These are now the Fox games. We have an NFC East showdown. It is the Giants, and they are taking on the Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are coming off of a win. I know for sure they're coming off of a win.
Or the Saints, 40-29.
How do you know the score of that?
I know random stuff, dude. I know the Giants lost on Monday Night Football to the Buccaneers because Tom Brady's the GOAT. 7 rings. Not much to say about that. I mean, the Giants just suck. It is bad.
That's a good point right there. The Giants are coming off of a loss to the Buccaneers like you just talked about. Let's go to the standings. The Philadelphia Eagles have a chance at making a playoff push. They started the year not well, but they are becoming well. They are 8th in the NFC. They are holding a record of 5-6. I initially thought this year that the Cowboys would have the NFC East on lock already. I thought that by week 5. I was like, Cowboys are winning. No other team can contend. But the Eagles are actually, they have a chance now. The Cowboys are 7-4, which would mean that they are 2 games behind them, I believe, if I did my math right. Hopefully I did. But it's the weekend. It's a Saturday, so who cares about math? The Giants are 14th in the NFC. They are 3-7. They are not making the playoffs. The only team that could here is the Eagles. The Eagles will be without running back Jordan Howard in this game. All right, no, he's questionable. I made a mistake. But they have Miles Sanders. He has returned. I'm starting Miles Sanders in fantasy over... Who's the other player I was going to start him over? Miles Sanders against Devonta Freeman. Freeman's going against the Browns, and he's going against the Giants. Which one should I start?
I'd probably take Miles Sanders. Obviously, the Eagles have changed their style of play. They're now running the ball more. And it's been very successful for them. They've won like 4 of their last 5. Jalen Hurts has played very consistently.
Good fantasy football analysis. Thank you for that. The New York Giants will be without Sterling Shepard yet again for this game. He has been hurt the whole year. The Giants have their entire team has been hurt this whole year. They'll also be without Logan Ryan for this game. Kadarius Toney, the camera.
Oh.
You want to go say hi? Kadarius Toney is listed as doubtful in this game. Kyle Rudolph is also listed as doubtful, former Vikings tight end.
Class act.
Saquon Barkley is questionable, but he's going to play. He's been questionable the whole year, so he'll play. I'm sure he'll be fine. John Ross is also questionable. I only put that because of all the other injuries. Giants have really had a big depletion this whole year as far as injuries. I don't know if depletion's a word, but if it is, well, if it isn't, then I just made it a word.
It is a word. Urban Dictionary.
For this game, Eagles have actually been playing decent recently. The Giants have not been good all year, but then again, they have had a major slew of injuries that have been on their plate. I do like the Eagles in this matchup against the banged-up Giants team. I feel like the only team that at this point, well, actually Washington could contend the Cowboys. At this point, I think the team that could best go against the Cowboys in the divisional race is the Eagles, and overall, I just feel like the Eagles are the better bet in this game, so I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles.
This is a game where I feel, everyone is now saying Eagles, they're finally getting hype, they're getting recognition. It's like the Gophers. They finally get recognition, so what do they do the next game? They just blow it. I feel like this is a game the Eagles just lose for no reason. The Giants have no reason to contend in this game, but somehow, some way, the Giants are going to find a way to win this game. And it's going to be very depressing. As long as Jalen Hurts plays good for me in fantasy, I don't care. But I just have a bad feeling the Giants are going to win this game.
Alrighty. I was going to say something else, but I don't remember it. So if I don't remember it, then that means I'm just going to move on. Oh, I was going to say, if you're a Vikings fan, sometimes I say this in my videos, if we're a Vikings fan, we would want the Giants to win this game. Sometimes Vikings fans watch these videos, actually. I've had a couple people comment Skull Vikings. Shout out to you if you're a Vikings fan. So sometimes I'll say which team the Vikings would want to win, and for this game, the Vikings would want the Giants to win. But I'm going Eagles, he's going Giants, and yeah, moving on to the next matchup, we will be having the Bucs and the Colts. We have the Bucs and the Colts coming up in this matchup, everybody. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming off of a win on Monday night against the New York Giants, like we talked about, and the Colts are coming off of
a huge win over the Buffalo Bills, where Jonathan Taylor had a statement game where he had 5 total touchdowns, over 150 yards rushing. Man, Jonathan Taylor is looking like the MVP right now.
Jonathan Taylor, I believe, I was not going against him in fantasy, thank goodness, but I believe he put up 53.4.
Yep.
If I can recollect.
Highest total so far this season.
Yeah, so that was... He could be the MVP in fantasy this year. He's definitely a front runner for that category. The Bucs are currently sitting as a division leader. The Bucs are third in the NFC. They hold a record of 7-3. The next team behind them in the NFC South is the Panthers. The Panthers and Saints are both 5-6. So if they're 5-6, we're gonna do the math here. 2.5 games behind them. I think that's right. That must mean the Bucs haven't had their bye week yet. No, the Panthers haven't had their bye week yet.
Next week the Panthers are on bye.
That is correct. Panthers have not had their bye week yet, and yeah. Okay, that was my thoughts on that part. Now I will move to 538. The Bucs currently, I believe they have a 99% chance of the playoffs. Nope, 96, but they have a 90% chance of winning the division. 12% chance at a first-round bye, number 1 seed in the playoffs. A win over the Colts would bump them all the way up to 99% playoffs, 95 division. A loss would put them at 85, 84. 93 playoffs, 84 division, so it doesn't really matter. The Colts if they win this game, the Colts will have a 82% chance of making the playoffs, so that is important for them. Right now, the Colts have a 68% chance of making the playoffs. A loss would bump them down to 53. For this game, before going into it, I thought I was going to pick the Bucs, but I'm honestly contemplating this.
To me,
I might change my mind.
the biggest thing in this game, I think, if you want to look at it, is the Colts running game, Jonathan Taylor, versus that Bucs defense. They've been the best against the rush for 2 years now, 3 years. If the Colts want to win this game, it's got to be Carson Wentz and putting the game in his hands. Given his last year, with the Eagles was rough, but when called upon, he hasn't played that bad this year. He's been very consistent. He's got some nice targets in Michael Pittman, obviously T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal, Mo Alley Cox. Yes, that is his name. But at the end of the day, I just don't see the Colts winning this game. I think the Buccaneers are going to bottle up Jonathan Taylor to the best of their abilities. And Tom Brady is going to lead his Buccaneers to a win, even without, I know they have injuries, if you'd like to report these injuries.
I will do that right now because I did not earlier. Antonio Brown is out for the Bucs. He's been out for a few weeks now, so this is not the first time. Ali Marpet, their left guard, is doubtful going into this game. Vita Vea and Devin White are both major players on defense. They are both listed as questionable heading into this one. Darius Leonard and Quentin Nelson are both questionable for the Colts going into this game. Anything else you have to say?
Well, even with those injuries, obviously, without Antonio Brown, they still have Gronk. They have Mike Evans, Cameron Brate, too, as a backup tight end.
O.J. Howard,
Tyler Johnson.
Godwin. I don't even think you mentioned him.
Yeah.
They got weapons.
They got a lot of talent. Xavier Rhodes can only close so many roads. And, yeah, this is going to be a Buccaneer win.
Oh, we remember Xavier Rhodes when he was here. He was good, and then he was bad. And then he went to the Colts, and now he's good again.
Yes, that's how it works in Minnesota.
That's kind of like Patrick Peterson, though. He was with the Cardinals. Patrick Peterson was really good, and then he just kind of became meh. And now he's been doing pretty solid this year for the Vikings. So he's one of my favorite players, too, Patrick Peterson. All time, he's been one of my favorite players. I've always liked him. For this game, it's a Saturday, and I'm feeling weird. I'm actually going to go with the Colts. I don't know why. I'm just feeling upset in this one. Jonathan Taylor, even against the tough Bucs defense, I feel like Jonathan Taylor will have a pretty good game again. Carson Wentz, I just have a feeling, you know. I don't even know how to explain it.
You can't describe it. You just have this weird feeling, and I have that feeling too that the Buccaneers are gonna win.
Yeah, and I've got that same feeling, but the opposite way. I've just got some strange feeling. I just like the Colts in this matchup for, I don't really know why. I'm going Colts.
Tom Brady's can't miss TV.
Yes. I'm going to go Colts with the upset. He's going to go with the Bucs. Both good picks. Good analysis. We are doing a good job. Coming up next, we have the Panthers and the Dolphins.
Rich Eisen hit us up.
We have an NFC and AFC cross-conference matchup coming up. It is the Carolina Panthers, and they're going up against the Miami Dolphins in this game, everybody. The Carolina Panthers are coming off of a loss, he says. They lost to Washington. It was a close game, though.
It was close.
The Dolphins are coming off of a win over the Jets. Wow, you actually memorized basically every single team on whether they won or lost.
Yeah, I watch a lot of NFL reviews, but the Dolphins have won 3 in a row.
They've been playing decent.
They bottled up the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
They won a shootout against the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And the Panthers got Cam Newton back. He's played good the last 2 games. Christian McCaffrey's lit a spark in them.
Currently, the now we'll start with the Panthers, or the road team. Usually I would start with the road team. The Panthers are 9th in the NFC. They have a record of 5-6. This is actually kind of a big game for Vikings fans. The Vikings are 5-5, and the Panthers are 5-6. They have not had their bye week, which means their bye week is coming up
next week.
Yep, week 13. So Vikings fans will want the Dolphins to win, but we still do hold a head-to-head tiebreaker, so that's good. But so that is the Panthers. They are 9th in the NFC at 5-6. Then we have got the Dolphins. The Dolphins are 13th in the AFC. They're 4-7. They're still sitting pretty low, but remember they started 1-7.
Yeah, and they've ripped off 3 in a row.
They're playing decent football. I respect to see it. According to 538, the Panthers are sitting with a... Panthers are lower. Here they are. Panthers have a 16% chance at making the playoffs. A win over the Dolphins would propel them up to 27%. A loss would catapult them all the way down to around 7%. Let me go back to clean slate. There we go. The Dolphins are still a very long shot for them to make the playoffs. They have a 5% chance. A win over the Panthers would put them up to around 8%. Big game, really, for both teams in this one.
If you're Miami, you don't hold on to your draft pick, because that pick goes to Philly. So you want to win as much as you can, even though you're in a rebuilding stage. You don't want Philly to have that good pick. The Colts first round pick went to Philly, but obviously now the Colts are playing good, so that pick is now looking at the later. And then even Philadelphia is playing good, so they're looking at 3 mid to late round, first round picks. I'm alone. I am so alone. But the Dolphins have played really well, but I think they're going to go back to their old ways. Do you know who's starting? Is Tua healthy still, or
Tua will be, I believe. I can Google it, but I believe Tua will be the starting quarterback.
Because I know Tua did start. I'm thinking back when they played the Ravens when he came in relief but was still hurt.
Yeah, I don't see anything saying against it. So that, I'm assuming, does mean Tua is the starting quarterback.
Tua played one of his best games last week against the Jets. I mean, it feels like everyone has a good game against the Jets.
Yeah. Doubtful in this game for the Panthers is right guard John Miller, and that is the only major injury for them. The Dolphins claim Phillip Lindsay off the waivers. The only reason I really put that is because it's Phillip Lindsay.
He's still a good back. I mean, unless we're just not seeing something other people are. I mean, he was undrafted, went to a Pro Bowl, then got cut by the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
Hopefully he finds his footing in Miami. I thought it was a very interesting claim because they have Myles Gaskins and Sheldon Ahmed, and they have running backs. I don't truly understand why they would do that.
Yes.
I was thinking the Titans maybe claim him, but obviously that didn't happen. I guess for this game, I'm more of a Panthers guy. I love Cam Newton. I have a dabbing shirt of him. I think the Panthers put it together this game. They have a good defense, too, so it'll be a defensive battle, but I think the Panthers come out on top.
I didn't even mention this. Devonta Parker and Will Fuller have not yet been cleared to practice for the Dolphins, so obviously they're out for this game because they're on the IR. But who knows how much longer they could be out if they do not return to practice. I as well like the Panthers in this matchup. Overall this year, I've picked the Panthers probably more than I should, but it's the Dolphins. They have been playing decent recently, but it's hard to trust them when you know that they can collapse at any time. So who knows when that could be happening.
You can trust the defense. You can't trust that offense. That's the biggest issue with this team.
Mm-hmm. I'm both going to go Panthers on this game. Just simply they're not that big of a trustworthy team, but they're a little bit more of trust than the Dolphins at this point. So Panthers, we pick. And moving on to the late games coming up next. Lunch break is over, everybody, and it is time for the next set. We are beginning the late games as well as the primetime games. We also found out during our break, A.J. Brown has been placed on the IR by the Titans, so he will miss the next 3 weeks. Still going with the Patriots anyways. So, we are on to this matchup. It is beginning our late games. This is the only late game on CBS. We have an AFC West showdown. It is the Chargers, and they're going up against the Denver Broncos on this one. The Los Angeles Chargers are coming off of a win on Sunday night over the Pittsburgh Steelers. High-scoring affair. I believe the final score was 41-38 or 39. One of the two. Then we've got the Broncos. The Broncos are coming off of... What are the Broncos coming off of? I'm unsure. Oh, they're coming off their bye week.
Yeah, that's what...
No wonder I couldn't find them. Broncos are coming off of their bye week, by the way. The Los Angeles Chargers, as of right now, they have a 69% chance of making the playoffs. Nice. A win in this game would propel them up to 85. The Chargers, as of now, they have a 39% chance of winning the AFC West. A loss would put them to 52% making the playoffs, 24% making the division win. Let's go down to the Broncos. The Broncos are down here. They currently have a 14% chance of making the playoffs and a 5% chance of winning the AFC West. A win this week would put them up to 25% in playoffs and 10% in the division. So, that will move me on to this part, which I have not done. The Chargers are in the playoff picture. They are 7th in the AFC, holding a record of 6 wins and 4 losses. They are behind the Chiefs, who are 7-4, meaning they're only a half game behind. Chiefs have not had their bye; they're on bye this week. The Broncos are 12th in the AFC. They have a record of 5 wins and 5 losses. As for injuries in this game, the Chargers will be without former Vikings defensive tackle, the big boy, Linval Joseph. They will also be without Asante Samuel in this game. Questionable is left guard Matt Filer. Broncos will be without left tackle Garrett Bowles. He's been hurt a lot of the year, but this time he's on the COVID list. He will be out. Shelby Harris and Bradley Chubb are both game time decisions for this game. Doubtful is Bobby Massey and Kareem Jackson. So there we go. That is your injury report for this game. Chargers seem like a significantly more of a playoff team to me over the Broncos. Chargers have still a decent team. Vikings beat them 2 weeks ago. I don't know what to say besides I like the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, the Broncos don't really have an identity. They don't really have a future quarterback. Justin Herbert's played good the last 2 weeks. I expect him to keep that going. I think the Chargers will win this game.
I do feel like the Chargers are just simply the better team in this game. Broncos have been pretty inconsistent the whole year. They traded away Von Miller, which made it seem like they were giving up on the season, but they're still 5-5. I guess there's still hope. Chargers are probably the best team out of the AFC West, in my opinion, to challenge the Chiefs at this point. I would view the Chiefs as the favorites in the AFC West, but if any team were to challenge, I would go with the Chargers, and I'm also picking the Chargers to win this game. I have no other final comments. Do you have any other final comments?
No.
All right, we are moving on now to the late games on Fox, beginning with the Rams against our rival, the Green Bay Packers. We have got a good NFC playoff battle here, 2 playoff potential teams. It is the Los Angeles Rams, and they are going against the Green Bay Packers. The Los Angeles Rams, as of right now, the Rams are 5th in the NFC, not the AFC. I caught myself this time. Rams are 5th in the NFC. They are holding on to a record of 7 wins and 3 losses. I believe they're coming off of a loss, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. The Rams are off their bye week. So I was half wrong. I was close. The Packers are currently 2nd in the NFC. They hold a record of 8-3. They are 1 game behind the Cardinals, but they do hold a head-to-head tiebreaker. This is going to be a good matchup. Over the past recently, the Rams have been having a bit of struggles. They initially looked like a Super Bowl contender, and then they've fizzled out a little bit. They lost to 2 weeks ago, I believe. They lost to the Niners on Monday Night Football. Did not look great in that game. And, yeah.
Then the week before, they lost to the Titans.
Oh, yeah. The Rams have no major injuries that I have to report of, at least not of their starters. The Green Bay Packers will be without left tackle David Bakhtiari in this game. He's been hurt a lot of the year, if not the whole year, I believe, actually. Malik Taylor will also be out of this game. I believe he was out against the Vikings. Otherwise, he was just listed as questionable, but I don't remember for sure. The doubtful in this game is Kevin King, the Packers' least favorite player, at least for Packer fans.
Vikings favorite.
Vikings favorite, you already know. Questionable in this game. Rashawn Gary, questionable. I believe he was listed as questionable going into last week as well. Alan Lazard is questionable. He was doubtful going into last week. And Aaron Jones was out, and he is listed as questionable. He had some MCL, don't remember the exact injury. Or, I believe it was MCL. Maybe it was PCL.
It was a sprain, I believe, of his MCL.
There you go. Thanks, doctor. I also did not say, because we have to say it, the Packers are coming off of a loss to the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes, sir.
We are honored to share that with you guys. According to 538, the not Minnesota Vikings, I almost said them. The Rams have a 86% chance of making the playoffs. Pretty good bets at this point. They have a 9% chance of winning the division. The Packers are sitting at over 99% chance of making the playoffs, 90% chance of winning the division. If the Packers lose this game, that would put them at an 83% chance of winning the division and a 98% chance of playoffs. They're making the playoffs, doesn't matter. If the Vikings win against the 49ers, the Vikings would then have a 27% chance of winning the division. So, for the Vikings, this is actually an important game to watch. So, we, in this game, want the Rams to win if we're looking at the divisional standpoint. But if we're looking at the wild card standpoint, which why would we shoot for the wild card? We want to win the division. If we're shooting for the wild card, though, then we'd be looking for the Packers to win. But we don't want the Packers to win. We want Rams Nation on this game.
There's no reason to root for the Packers. Absolutely none. Vikings got to control their own destiny, and they got to win games. But when you look at this game, I'm interested to see what the Rams do with Odell. How have he and Matthew Stafford clicked? Has the offense figured out some different things? They had some issues, obviously losing Robert Woods. And then the Packers, how do they respond to getting blown up by Kirk Cousins? I mean, it's embarrassing. You got beat by Kirk Cousins. And, in this game, I hate the Packers, so go Rams.
I did not even mention Aaron Rodgers, the Aaron Rodgers. Actually,
was vaccinated.
So he was
immunized.
Then I said, what did I say a couple weeks ago when I was filming it? I said something really funny. I said immunized, and then I said vaccinized later without even thinking about it, just because that was in that same tense. Aaron Rodgers actually had a pretty good game, but you could tell his toe did limit some of his scrambling. It limited some of his mobility. He did not practice all week going into this game. 3 DNPs listed in a row. Who do I favor to win this matchup? Even though the Vikings won, the Packers didn't play bad. Mason Crosby, actually, I think he's the most hated Packer by Packer fans.
It's still Kevin King.
You think so?
The NFC Championship game speaks for itself.
So who did you pick? Did you pick the Rams?
I want the Rams. Even if I thought the Packers would win, I'm still going Rams.
Obviously, I'm a Viking fan. I want the Rams to win this game, but the Rams have been not super great over the past however many weeks. I do like the Packers matching up in this game. Aaron Rodgers, his toe is going to be an important factor to watch, and also the status of Aaron Jones on whether he will play or not. I like the Packers in this game. He likes the Rams. We want the Rams to win, but we'll just have to see which one happens. Moving on, we will be having Vikings at 49ers coming up next.
QAnon Rodgers.
We have got our team, everybody. That is the Minnesota Vikings, and they are coming up this week. Big game in Santa Clara against the San Francisco 49ers. Vikings coming off a win over the Green Bay Packers, like we just talked about. The 49ers are coming off of a blowout win over the Jaguars. They've won 2 games in a row, I believe. The Vikings have also won 2 games in a row. Both teams have big momentum coming into this game. The Minnesota Vikings are 6th in the NFC. They are 6th in the NFC with a record of 5 wins and 5 losses. They are behind the Packers by... Packers are 8-3, so they're 2.5 games behind the Packers. Packers have their bye coming up, I don't think next week, but... Oh, no, this page. Nope. I just got lost. Oh, right here. This is this week. So, Packers have their bye next week. I was wrong. Then we have got the San Francisco 49ers. They snuck into the number 7 seed due to the Cowboys loss. The Saints loss snuck them in. 49ers are also 5-5, but they are pretty far behind. They are 3.5 games behind the Cardinals, if I read that right. Oh, hold on. I should go to 538 do this. Then we'll get to the analysis time. The Minnesota Vikings, as of right now, have a 61% chance of making the playoffs. That jumped up because of the Saints' loss. It was 59 before that. They have a 10% chance of winning the NFC North, but I already went through the scenario if the Vikings win and Packers lose. Talked about that earlier. The San Francisco 49ers are sitting with a 52% chance of winning, 52% chance of making the postseason and a 0.4% chance of winning the NFC West. So they are really just hoping for a wild card spot at this point. As for the injury report in this game, I will get to it right now. Everson Griffin placed on the NFI list yesterday. He will be out for at least 3 games, but to me, and I think every Vikings Nation person, we could care less about football at this point. I don't care how long it takes for him to get back. His health is what's most important right now. They will be without Dalvin Tomlinson in this game. He was placed on the COVID list this week, and I believe he's unvaccinated, but can't guarantee, but I'm pretty sure I saw that. Questionable in this game is safety Cam Bynum. He played when Harrison Smith was on the COVID list. He did a good job, and he played a lot more last week, actually, even though Harry and Xavier Woods were in. Xavier Woods played pretty bad this week, though, so I would be okay if Cam Bynum took his place, or at least shared spots with him. So, yeah. The 49ers, Dre Greenlaw was on the IR. He is expected to play, as is D. Ford. Jermichael Hasty, their backup running back, is out. But the only reason I listed that is because Elijah Mitchell, the starting running back, is also listed as... No, he's listed as questionable. But it doesn't really matter because they've got Deebo Samuel. And, yeah, he's emerged. Defensive tackle Maurice Hasty is doubtful to play in this game. Xavier Woods, not a good game. I would absolutely be okay seeing Cam Bynum take his place. Vikings offense, if you've watched any of my past videos, you guys, you've seen me complain about coaching, play calling, every single thing I've complained about, but their play calling took a really big step up this week. I almost don't like how forced it was. I almost feel like it became too forced for a little bit. The Vikings, Kirk Cousins got intercepted 3 times, but all 3 of them didn't count. One of them was a roughing the passer call, called it back. One of them was reviewed an incomplete pass, and the third one was a pass breakup from Adam Thielen because he's good. He's better than Bashaud Breeland on defense. So, yes, Anthony Barr will be in for this game. He was out last week. Deebo Samuel having a great year. I believe in 6 out of the past 7 games he's had 100 yards receiving or some stat like that I read.
Yeah, he's becoming the new Swiss Army knife for that team. Him going in the backfield has really helped this team, and obviously getting George Kittle back has helped this team. His run blocking and pass catching, he's caught 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games. I would know. I caught him off waivers in fantasy.
Yeah, he told me a story about George Kittle. Someone dropped him in fantasy thinking he was out for the season. They made a big mistake with that one.
Yeah, and now with Darren Waller potentially being out a little bit, that's huge. But back to the game, obviously the Vikings, they want to run the ball. They want to establish Dalvin Cook. They want to play action off of that and get their big-time receivers, Jefferson and Thielen, the ball. Them paying more attention to Justin Jefferson, trying to get him the ball, let him work, has helped. He's been over 100 yards the last 2 games. His fashion's really good. It's very important to look good, play good. Thielen's production's been a little stagnant, but, when called upon, he makes the plays. This is going to be a really good game.
One thing I like that's happened recently with this Vikings offense is in the past, they've been focused, and I got frustrated with this. They've been focused on establishing the run, running Dalvin Cook until, well, they start with running Dalvin Cook, and finally when they can run the ball, then they start passing. But I think recently they've started a lot more with the passing and used that to open up the running lanes because now teams are focused on Adam Thielen. Teams are focused on Justin Jefferson. Teams are focused on Tyler Conklin and KJ Osborne. So that kind of does allow Dalvin Cook to run the ball. He didn't have the most yards this week, but he did really come through the most when the team needed him, specifically on that last drive, as what I think. So, like Adam Thielen, you're talking about his stagnancy, even though that seems like it at times, he doesn't get the ball super often, but when he does get the ball, those are important times in the game. So I think he's still a key piece to this offense. Justin Jefferson, what a player, man. And then, yeah, one of the things I like about this offense is they have so many weapons and they're beginning to know how to utilize them, that defenses can't cover every single player, so that now leaves always one person, whether it's Cookie, whether it's KJ, whether it's Conklin, whether it's JJ or Adam. Someone's always going to be open now because they have so many versatile offensive weapons. So that is one of the biggest things I like about this team.
Yeah, top 10 rushing, top 10 passing, top 10 in scoring, and they're still 5-5. They just figured it out sooner. We could be looking at a completely different standings. You know, the North could be extremely different. I wasn't trying to dog on Thielen, but just obviously I think he would like some more production, but at the same time the team's also winning and he's a team first guy, it feels like. So all that said, all the analysis, reverse psychology, 49ers.
Really, everything we said about the Vikings, we can almost say the same with the 49ers. They're actually a really similar team to Minnesota here. They had unlike Minnesota had a bad start to the year. Then they pulled a couple wins in a row, and then they went bad after the bye week again. And now they're heating up again. But the 49ers started really good, then they went stagnant, I'll use that word again, and then now they've been producing recently. So in a way, these teams are the same. They have good runners. They've got Brandon Ayuk. They've got Deebo Samuel. They've got Jimmy Garoppolo, who's been doing a pretty good job recently. I won't even lie. Then there's also on the bench, we do got to mention him, Trey Lance, the Minnesota boy from Marshall, went to NDSU. And their defense, pretty good too. One of the biggest things I think I'm going to be watching in this game is the Vikings defensive line going up against this rushing attack of Deebo Samuel and whoever else is running the ball for the 49ers. Their entire defensive line is different than it was at the beginning of the year. Tomlinson's on the COVID list, like we talked about. Michael Pierce is on the IR. He'll be out for the next 2 games. No, he'll be out this week, but he's eligible to return next week. And then we've got Everson, who's going through his mental issues. And then we've got Danielle Hunter, who's out for the year. Like, this defensive line is completely different. So it's going to be intriguing to see, can they stop this 49ers rushing offense? Because if they can't, I would definitely see the 49ers running the ball all day, because why mess with what's working? For this game, I like the 49ers, but I also like the Vikings. If the Vikings can open the ball up, if they can keep finding JJ and Adam and all their other playmakers, if they can continue good play calling, and if Kirk Cousins can continue MVP-like football, because I won't even lie, Kirk Cousins,
lowest turnovers. I mean, he only has thrown 2 interceptions.
21 touchdowns to 2 interceptions.
I mean, it could be a lot more, but we're thankful it's only 2 right now.
We're thankful that the refs kind of came in clutch last week, not even gonna lie.
I'm just thankful they made the right calls because those were incomplete passes. And that was a terrible roughing the passer call, and I thought he should have been suspended for the rest of the year. I don't know who did it, but that was disrespectful. To hit a quarterback that hard with children watching, are you serious?
They can't hit the Daddy Kirk like that because he is our MVP. We are thankful for him.
That man has a family, okay? He lost his van. It was stolen. The Gray Ghost was stolen.
It wasn't stolen. It was hit by a car in a crash. I saw the video of it.
Kirk Cousins has been through so much adversity. He deserves this moment. He deserves some MVP recognition.
Are you crying, bro?
Yes, I am. And I think it's so disrespectful that people would hate on Kirk Cousins for all that he's done for Minnesota. I don't know, I just get emotional thinking about it. You're going to take over.
If the Vikings get in the playoff race, though, I'm not even kidding. If he can keep this caliber of football, Kirk Cousins is an MVP contender. The man is worthy. 21 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's been finding Jefferson. He's been finding Thielen. Dude deserves it at this point. Over all the adversity he's come through in his career, I think he's worthy of being in the talk. My partner has left me. He picked the 49ers. If the team can open up again, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. Hopefully I'm right, obviously, on this one. But I feel like if they can keep airing out the ball, if they can keep this offensive explosion that's suddenly come out the past 2 weeks, hopefully I feel like the Niners cannot contain. I'm going Vikings. The unknown co-star is going 49ers. And that is it for the late games. Moving on to Sunday night, we will have the Browns and Ravens AFC North showdown coming up right now. All right, guys, we have got a balling baby over here, but we are going to continue because we have to. It is the AFC North Sunday night showdown. We have the Browns, and they're set to face the Baltimore Ravens this week. The Cleveland Browns are currently, I believe, out of the playoff race. Yes, they are 11th in the AFC, holding on a record of 6-5. The The Cleveland Browns have a 30% chance of making the postseason, 14% chance of winning the AFC North. But with a win, that propels their playoff hopes all the way up to 54. So this is definitely an important game. The Raiders are currently, I believe, second in the AFC, if I remember. I was right. They're second in the AFC, holding a record of 7 wins and 3 losses. The Ravens are coming off of a win
over the Bears with backup Tyler Huntley.
That is correct. Justin Fields, we didn't even talk about that. Oh, no, I did. I would have in my other video. But yeah. Justin Fields, I talked about it already, so I don't really need to. Then we've got the Browns. The Browns are coming off of a loss, if I remember right.
The Browns beat the Lions 13-10 last week.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It was when you talk about a snooze fest, and you look that up on the dictionary, you're going to find the Browns and Lions. It was a bad game. Just like this Thanksgiving game where I had to talk to family.
The Ravens are sitting with an 81% chance of making the postseason, 58% chance of winning the AFC North. If I had to place my bet on it right now, I would say that the Ravens have the best shot at winning the AFC North at this point. I think the Ravens will win.
Book it! Not real gambling advice.
Yes. A win would propel them all the way to a 70% chance of winning the division, so that is definitely important right there. As for the report on this game, the Browns will be with Kareem Hunt and Jack Conklin. They are set to play coming off of the IR this week.
It's great to see Kareem Hunt back. Just a great player, famous woman respecter, Kareem Hunt. I think he's going to add a jump start to that Browns offense. I'm so sorry to cut you off there, but I just felt I needed to say that.
You did need to say that, and it was deserving. They will be without wide receiver Anthony Schwartz in this game, and Donovan Peoples-Jones is also questionable.
They could have really used Odell now, couldn't they?
They really could, if he fit into their game plan, that is.
Baker threw him the ball.
The Ravens listed as questionable. They have a whole bunch of players. Marquise Brown is listed as questionable, as is the fullback Patrick Ricard. I put fullback because there are only like 3 teams in the NFL I can think of that use their fullback. The Niners, Ravens, and Minnesota Vikings.
Did you know Patrick Ricard used to play on the defensive end? He was a D tackle, and they converted him to a fullback.
I wondered
You would have never heard that on Paul Allen. You would have never heard him say that one.
Oh, I never thought of that. Well, I didn't think of it, but that makes sense. If you've ever seen Ricard, he's a pretty big dude.
He's a 300, 20 or 40 pound
yeah.
dude. He made a one-handed catch against the Vikings because everyone turns into Calvin Johnson and the best receiver in the league against the Vikings.
But yeah, if you think about it, like the Vikings fullback CJ Ham, dude's like this tall.
That dude can get up though. You
but,
see that one catch he had?
Yeah, he's a good player, a good guy. He's from Minnesota. He's from Duluth.
His last name's Ham.
Ham! What a great name. It's hammer time, baby.
I did have ham at Thanksgiving, if anyone cared.
Actually,
Why do you have ham at Thanksgiving?
did we have ham here at Thanksgiving?
We had turkey. We had made a ham sandwich out of the appetizer.
We are not gonna. We shouldn't argue this, but is mac and cheese a side
Yes.
for Thanksgiving? Should it be on the Thanksgiving table?
Honestly, I wouldn't say so. I think it should be.
We don't want to get too.
Mac and cheese is
I don't
good.
want to get too political here. But yeah.
Comment down below if we should begin a series of just controversial takes on, like, not even just sports, just anything.
Because everyone wants to hear what these two white guys think.
Nobody wants to hear that.
That's what we're trying to get at. Thank you.
She basically just proved her point.
All right, we're not trying to get political. We're gonna focus our attention. We're gonna shift it back to this game. Obviously, we left off with Patrick Ricard being injured.
Patrick McCarry is also listed as questionable. He has been dealing with injuries for quite a bit of the year. He did not play against the Vikings, and that was week 9, so that's how I remember that. Brandon Williams and Calais Campbell, their 2 starting defensive tackles, are both listed as questionable, as is Anthony Averett, their corner. So, big injuries possibly on the Ravens side. A lot of questionable players. I do like the Ravens in this matchup. They're just simply the better team.
I would have to agree with you there. Baker Mayfield's playing through injuries. His wife having defended him on Instagram for his performance of late. It's just not good. Obviously, I think getting Kareem Hunt back might help things out, but not having Donovan Peoples-Jones, not having Anthony Schwartz, and they do have Austin Hooper, David Njoku, I guess, at tight ends, but I don't really know how they're going to try to use that out wide. It's just, I think Lamar Jackson's entering playoff mode. He used the bathroom last week, and now he is ready to rumble. I think this is just going to be a Ravens team that's going to be tough to beat.
I still do like the Browns, but at the beginning of the year, I would have told you that the Browns are a Super Bowl contender. Like that's how I felt about this team. But now it's hard to say that at this point. It's hard to see them as in discussion of Super Bowl contenders. It's hard to put them in there at this point.
The Browns have everything you want. It's kind of like the Vikings.
They just have to put it all together.
They don't mesh well together, and you saw that with Odell. Obviously, Baker should have thrown him the ball. That's just me and my fantasy team.
Do you have Baker? Or no, you have Odell?
Yeah. You know what? Matt Stafford's better because he will throw Odell the ball, and his dad will not flame him on Instagram for it. Well, I'm not trying to get political here. I think we both can agree here that the Ravens are the better team. The Ravens have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, in Lamar Jackson, and this should be a blowout. Honestly, I'd be fair to say this could end up in a blowout.
I would say this game. My personal bet is this game is going to be more than one score of a game. It's going to be more than a 7-point game. The final will. I don't see it being a close game, really, now that I think about it. But that is going to do it for Sunday Night Football. On to Monday night. To close out the video, we have Seattle taking on Washington. Before we begin Monday Night Football, I do have to just say, Bills corner Tre'Davious White is out for the season, torn ACL. That was a Thursday game, so obviously I didn't talk about it then because I can't predict the future. I'm not a wizard. You're a wizard, Harry. But, yeah. So I just wanted to share that important injury for the Bills right there.
Oh, very big injury. I just feel bad for the guy.
Bills do still seem like a Super Bowl contender to me. I know that they have been having some tough times as of late, but I think they played a pretty good game. Their offense was able to get it together. Really, specifically their defense, unless it was just an implosion by the Saints offense, because Saints just couldn't get it together.
Starting your third-string quarterback, Trevor Siemian, and your third-string running back against one of the best defenses in the league, it's tough to succeed there.
Yes. But for this game, now we are moving on to Monday Night Football. It is the Seattle Seahawks going against the Washington Football Team. This is a pretty important game, actually, if you're a Vikings fan. Looking at this NFC wildcard spot, the Seattle Seahawks are coming off of a loss to the Arizona Cardinals, who were without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, but they might be back They should be back after the bye week. Then we have got the Washington football team coming off of a close win over the Panthers. That was a pretty important game, actually, too, looking at this wild card race. The Seattle Seahawks are almost out of the playoff race, I'd say. They're 3-7, 15th in the NFC. It is hard for them to come back from that. The Washington football team is 11th in the NFC. They're holding on to a record of 4-6. They started, I believe, 1-6 or 2-6.
Go up a little bit. If they win, they could potentially overtake the Panthers and jump right in to that 9th spot. It's a big game for Washington.
It sure is.
They've turned their season around for the most part with 2 big wins.
Obviously, we know if we're Minnesota Vikings fans, we would want the Seattle Seahawks to win this game. The Vikings already hold a head-to-head tiebreaker over them, so they're really not that much of a threat to us at this point.
Seattle started, 2-0 to start the year, and they've just sputtered out of control since, or am I just dumb?
That sounds pretty great to me. I do not have an injury report to report because as of when I made my notes for this video, which is Saturday afternoon, it hadn't been released yet, but usually when I make these videos, it's never done.
If I may add off the top of my head, it seems as if wide receiver Curtis Samuel and tight end Logan Thomas, both for the Washington football team, are trending towards playing or trending towards being activated off of IR.
All right, I am back to 5:38. Now I can look at this. The Seattle Seahawks, hard to see them in the playoff race at this point. They only have a 5% chance of making the postseason.
But with a win
would put them up to 10%.
That's a huge game. This is a big game for them.
Even though that would they still have a very outside shot, still an important game. A loss would put them down to just 1%. So
what would happen to Washington? You may be asking. We're going to answer that for you.
For the Washington football team, they have a 29% chance of making the playoffs right now, 16% chance of winning the division. A win this week would bump them up to 41% to make the playoffs and 22% to win the division. So, very important game for Washington.
Big game for Washington, exactly.
And not only did what if they win and... Oh, wait, the Cowboys already lost, so...
Eagles lost.
So, let's say... Yeah, we'll say Eagles lost.
I think they're
Eagles are down here, so we're going to say Eagles. And Eagles loss would move Washington up to 43% playoffs, 24% for winning the division, 25%. It's fluctuating back and forth due to all the mathematical probabilities. So, important game for Washington in all aspects, not only the divisional race, but also the playoff race, wildcard race. Every single factor is important to them in this one.
I mean, how about Taylor Heineke? I mean, I think he played probably one of his best games against Carolina. He had 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards. Terry McLaurin played really well. And I mean, you look at Seattle, it's just been a train wreck, obviously, with Ross being out for an extended amount of time, coming back. Offense not really clicking right now. Losing Chris Carson to the year. Not really having an identity on the ground. And, I mean, they have DK Metcalf, they have Tyler Lockett, and they just, even with Russ, I mean, it's just been a struggle, and it's sad to see.
They've got all their weapons. Like, they're a good team on paper. They just can't put it together.
Obviously, the O-line struggled too, which might be a big reason to why a good O-line for any team will make you successful.
The Washington football team started not good at the beginning of the year. I don't remember the exact record, but I know it was not good. And they have really been getting it together recently.
The defense is coming around, playing as most people thought they would. A huge win against Tampa Bay, and then being able to beat the Cam Newton-led Panthers last week. They got the momentum. Seattle's sputtering. They haven't played their best. So going into this game, I think you got to ride the momentum. I think the Washington football team will win this game. I was going to say they will figure out a name next season, and I can't wait to hear what they come up with.
I as well am going to go with the Washington football team. Obviously, as Vikings fans, we want Seattle to win, but I do like Washington in this game. They are just simply the better overall team. They've been getting all their pieces put together recently. That defense has been doing pretty good. I don't remember exactly how many points they held Tampa Bay to, but it was pretty low amount.
And obviously, to know losing Chase Young to the season with a torn ACL, their best edge rusher, even without him, they're still able to muster up pressure. They have a very good D-line.
Yeah,
even without Chase Young.
Big loss for the team, but it seemed like last week they were able to still combat the loss, and they were able to still put it together.
Being able to win at the line of scrimmage and then being able to cover in the secondary, because at every position they're very talented on defense.
Momentum is so important in the National Football League, and I do feel like the Washington football team has momentum. There is no momentum whatsoever for Seattle.
But again, you got to play the game anyway.
Yeah.
You know, we can talk momentum all we want. We gave you all these analysis and all these different things, but at the end of the day, you got to play the game to get a winner.
Every given Sunday can any given team, like
the Texans.
I was surprised when Washington beat Tampa Bay, because that was part of Washington's still kind of their low spot at that time.
Yeah.
And then they beat the Bucks. So I was surprised to see that. We both like Washington going into this game. Looking ahead to next week on the bye, we have the 4 teams are on the bye next week. The Cleveland Browns, Carolina Panthers, Green Bay Packers, and Tennessee Titans. 4 teams on the bye next week. Next week on Thursday Night Football, obviously I'll have a separate video for Thursday Night Football and the bye week teams, because that's what I do now. Dallas Cowboys and New Orleans Saints set to face off Thursday night. And that is going to do it for this video. Thanks to everybody for watching, assuming you're still watching at this point. That is going to conclude this video, everybody. Any closing statements that you have to say before we end it?
You know, I'm sorry for getting emotional there, but I still just don't understand how people can hate on Kirk Cousins like that. You know, he is such a class act. He's so respectable. You know,
he's going to keep going on about it, so I'm just going to move on.
Bother my kids.
Thank you guys.
So nice.
Sorry. Thank you guys so much.
He's so good.
Hey, that's
so good looking.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
So
Be sure to leave a like down below and share with all your friends if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. I will see you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, peace. Have a good night. Skol Vikings. Peace out.